Flemish dialect word, so of course it's hard to pronounce for American native speakers.
Awesome. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll talk about Felix as we go. So 3, 2, 1, go. So Mula is the sole verifier for this game on speedrun.com, and I've asked him to do commentary because he's awesome, and moderators are awesome, and they should be thanked a bit more than they should, I think, and I appreciate you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, this is actually the very first speedrun I routed in my life. Oh.
That's awesome. So, throughout the run, we're going to be picking up these Felix coins, as you can see, and when we hit intervals of 10, we're going to be upgraded. Oops, got hit there. So, as we upgrade, our attacks will change, and it kind of gives us an extra hit point, because if we get hit, we just go back to the previous version. Depending on the stage, there are different sets of upgrades available to us. In normal Felix, we're going to go from like a Felix with like a punching glove sort of thing to a magician Felix, who then turns into a car Felix, and then to a tank or like an artillery Felix.
Yeah, there's not much difference between the forms, besides that you can take more hits, except for the final form, of course, because that one will do double damage to enemies and bosses alike. So throughout the stage, preferably you use with this set the second form, the magician form, because it has like a surrounding attack and it's easier to hit enemies, but for bosses you want to be in the final form.
And there we go. The bosses, when you hit them, have iframes, but as soon as they come out of the iframes, they can actually immediately be hit. So you kind of want to like pre-shoot, and as long as the shot is inside of the boss when they come out of their iframes, it'll immediately do damage, which is pretty cool. That just make the fight just a little bit faster. It's awkward. So, awkward pickup there, but ideally, we're now on to the flight stage, and ideally the cannons that you're going to see throughout this stage, we're going to take those out as we can, because they end up causing a ton of lag when they shoot their shots. Unfortunately, got the power up at just kind of an inopportune time, but making it through the stage pretty easily here.
Yeah, jokingly you can call this game Felix the Lag for sure, because this is one of the most laggy games on Game Boy. I think most of it is due because the animations for Felix himself are actually very animated, like there's different parts of his sprite that are moving like in their own accord, so especially during these flying stages there's like a lot of lag, and it's kind of hard to route it completely well without actually making a task out of it to see what would work best.
Little hiccup there. So we are on our way to the next boss. We're going to take this little Felix bag, which kind of functions as a warp pipe in a Mario game. We're going to see 2 of those throughout the game that save time. Through this section, you might have wondered why I took the upper path and then bonked. It's simply because taking out the little sombrero guys throughout that passageway actually makes it faster, because the game lags so much. Almost. That's the second boss?
Yep, kind of missed the last shot a little bit there for the quickest kill, but yeah, all these bosses go down pretty easily. This guy's actually named Rock Bottom. The first boss was Poindexter. I don't really know that much more about Felix, because this thing has been around since 1912, I believe. And I'm not familiar with the old stuff when it comes to Felix. I know the Professor, who's the final boss, and Poindexter were definitely in the original cartoon, I believe. But like, the boss of this stage, for example, called Master Cylinder, actually comes from the movie that came out in 1987, I believe. which if you haven't seen that movie, definitely do so. It's super creepy. I love it as a kid. Yeah, in stage 3-1, by the way, there was another one of those warp bags. There's only 2 of them that actually put you forward in a level in this entire game. The rest of them are just little bonus areas to get pickups, but you use those 2 definitely to advance like 10 seconds. So.
And the nice thing about this game, whether you're speedrunning it or you're playing it casually, is that it's very friendly. Like, you get so many upgrades, and there are those little warp pipes. Even if they don't put you ahead, they'll give you a lot of coins to get your bonuses back and stuff. So it's actually a really good game to play both casually and if you just want to like start speedrunning. This is a pretty good game to enter at. I want to say it's easy necessarily to speedrun. It's got its tech. I missed a shot there. I might lose my upgrade. Okay, we got it. So, at the end of this stage, we managed to not pick up any of the milk, which you get on intervals of 5, and they like fill your hearts that are in the lower left. I managed to finish the level with 1 heart, so at the end of the level, there's less of a fanfare when it counts down your hearts, which is just a minor optimization thing.
Our first quote-unquote water stage of the game. This is a fun one to just play through, in my opinion. Like, the movement here is pretty cool if you do it perfectly. Of course, lag, because why not? But yeah, it's fun to like perfectly jump and go beneath the platforms where you need to be and things like that.
Cool. Now we're going to go into the next water stage, which is underwater, and it's got really creepy music. I've never really understood the music for this stage, to be honest. It sounds like really dangerous. Like Felix is in immediate danger.
Yeah, this game doesn't have like the best soundtrack on Game Boy. It is a little bit grating at some points during the songs, but they are very memorable songs. Because I had this game when I was 6, I guess, or something like that, and I still remember all of these songs to this day.
Just gonna get our upgrade here. Our final form on this one is a submarine that looks like Felix's head. And just like the previous boss, the mechanics for the underwater stage and the like airplane stage are pretty similar. So we end up actually doing the exact same pattern for the bosses, and we just miss. It's fine. There we go. He's down. Do you happen to know that boss's name? Because I don't have a clue.
Yeah. Give me a second. I have it right here. It's Gulpo, King of the Blobs. Again, no idea where he's from. He might actually just be from this game.
So now we're on to this unusual auto-scroller stage. We're in outer space, and there are asteroids flying by. They kind of look like meatballs. And then there are little Dragon Quest slimes that come out in UFOs and shoot. But we just want to try to cruise through the stage without getting hit. There are no upgrades, and it's a pretty long auto-scroller, so the downside to that is if you get hit, you are sent back to the beginning of the stage and you have to do it all over again. It's not super difficult once you know, like, the spawns, because it's not random. You know where everything's coming in, so if you're familiar with it, it's not too bad, but you can still, get an eaten input or something and, kind of get thrown off and lose the level and have to restart, but hopefully we won't see that.
Yeah, this is definitely a stage that somebody should pass out just to see how everything works when it comes to lag frames and things like that, because every time you play this stage, you will end up with a different time, and even doing the same things you think might end up being a little bit different. It's really weird how this stage handles everything. So hard to tell RTA or while doing attempts what is actually happening on the stage itself.
For sure. Just gonna jump over there. So it's a 50-50 if we could hit here. We did not. The one at the end of the stage is kind of the same way. But if we line up our coins correctly and we end up with 9 going into the final one, it's not that big of a deal because there's another upgrade available to us. We don't need to go into the final stage as the artillery. It just kind of makes things easier to do it. So we're on 9. We'll try to avoid picking up any more coins here. Right, we didn't get hit, so I guess we're lucky, but in case we did, there's a coin there we can re-power up and head on into the last stage.
Yeah, like all good series, of course you end up in space. Just like Hellraiser, Friday the 13th, Leprechaun, Felix the Cat. They all end up in space somehow.
Missed the face. So the face up there in the upper left ends up causing a little bit of lag there, but you're going to see the only glitch in Felix the Cat. Here it is. Ready? Oh, did you see that clip? That was insane.
Unbelievable.
Just going to try to take out the enemies as we're going through here if I can, to try and just reduce some of the lag, but if I end up missing, it's not the end of the world. And cool. As soon as you spawn, if you kind of delay just a half a beat and then shoot, you can hit him midair, get an early shot off.
Nah, we're fighting totally not Dr. Wily right now.
And that is time. 12 minutes and 4 seconds.
That is pretty darn good, actually.
Thanks. So, this past year, we had Sloppy Joe, Ping Toe, Easy Edge, and The Pile come in, a group of friends, and Sloppy Joe claimed the record for a little while. Some new strats. It's really cool. It got me back into running it. I was able to get a sub 1130, which is pretty awesome. Just kind of drove me to do it, and his strats are really good. But, if you all don't mind, throw some hearts in the chat for your leaderboard moderators, because to be honest, I see a lot of people complaining about moderators taking too long to verify your runs and stuff, and it's just, all I'm saying is they're taking time out of their lives to verify runs on a leaderboard, and we appreciate them. I appreciate you, and thank you very much for doing commentary. I'm glad you're here. If you're not following them,